I'm going to take you through the Women in Tech Evolve. And about us, we are an initiative formed by MSPs, that is Microsoft Student Partners, and soon to be supported by Microsoft Student Partner Programs partners from across the globe, focused on empowering one another to inspire.
Why the MSP Evolve, why we think it really matters to our members is because we have a lot of interactive events planned out for you guys. We are actually working on how we can issue certificates to our members and those who will be attending our events here on Teams. And also we also aim at providing a platform where our members will just interact and build a network of other developers, those working in the same fields as them. And so actually what the main idea was to just build this platform where we can have developers from around the country just come together and share on what they need to learn. So if you're working on something, you don't have to struggle to get help. You don't have to go far. You can just reach out. We have a channel here on Teams. Just reach out and anyone is going to answer and respond to you. Now on the program description, we're currently targeting on women in universities, both those in tech and those in non-tech field. So don't feel left out if you maybe don't do anything in tech currently. But the main aim is to just help everyone acquire skills. So it doesn't really matter whether you're in tech or non-tech. You're diving into a certain career. So we just want you to help. We want to help you get there. Now we have a team. The team, maybe you can just scroll down. We have a team of, as you can see there, those are the MSPs in our country. And actually the list is longer. It's yet to be updated. We are close to 12. Maybe someone can clarify that on the chat. We are quite a good number. So from, like, we have Ayan there from Strathmore, Rosiana, who is actually working at Microsoft already. So we believe that she actually leads by example. She started as an MSP and now already secured a job in Microsoft. So you guys, it's really awesome if you just dive into this opportunity and don't let it pass you. So we have Lillian Patience from Kimathi. We also have Antonina, Daisy, Mariana, myself, and Bethany, and among others. We also have we're many. We have like I think 5 or 6 more who are not here. So down there we have the calendar of events on this document, but it is yet to be updated. We are going to share the current calendar of events that we will be using. We have like events lined up in the next 2 months. You will be engaged in these events. So since time is much gone, I'd like to dive into our first talk, a talk on career paths. So kindly you can stop sharing your screen. I'm going to focus on career development options. So let me just share my screen. So yeah, I hope everyone can see the screen. So now, yeah, welcome to the event. I introduced myself. I'm Julia. So before we even get into the career development and the opportunities for developers, I'd like us to first go through the how to choose a career path. You know, like this is actually a phase that everyone needs to go through. Like no matter how well your future may be defined, you know, maybe someone promised you a job immediately after you finish campus. So no matter how well your future may be defined, you'll need to spend some quality time thinking about your future, thinking about your career. So now I will start by mentioning the first point. So I have like 5 points. You can just go through them. And just to mention, this is an open discussion. So if you have anything you can share, just feel free to type in the chat panel. So yeah, so that we can just be involved, all of us. So the first point we can look at is what your career goals are. So if you want to start thinking about where you will land, your landing point as maybe as you study and do such things, you need to know what your career goals are. Now, maybe we can just quickly define what a career path is. Now, in this context, a career path, these are just positions that you hold as you advance in your field. So no matter what field you're in, as I said earlier, we have both tech and non-tech people in this call. Whatever field you're in, there are these various positions that you hold. You start as a beginner, a newbie, then you advance, and later on you become a professional. So the baseline of all this is that you need to have a starting point. You need to know where you're going to start. And that is where questions, you need to answer some questions like, what do you want for your career? Like, what do you picture your life in the next 5 years? See, like, what exactly do you see your future? What are you working on, like, the rest of your life? What activities excite you? Like, for instance, if you have free time, what is it that you think you can just give a lot of attention to? You may be this person who maybe during your free time you just think of taking a piece of paper and pencil and you start drawing. That means you have interest in art. So a career like gaming might be something that you might think of considering, since that is what you're willing to invest your time and energy in. So you really need to have the answers to these questions. Then you also need to consider your personality type. Now we have the different kinds of people. We have people who just stay in their rooms, they lock themselves in their rooms and actually build really amazing stuff. We have others who just go out there, people who love interacting and making new friends and networking. So you need to realize yourself. So these first 2 points are actually banked on self-realization. You need to understand you so that you can actually decide on what career you would want to do, what career you would want to pursue. Now, the reason as to why understanding your personality type is important is because different personality types may be geared towards different interests and you may develop different strengths. So according to your strengths, you will now be able to have a clear pathway of what you would like to do in future. Now, the third point is you need to review your experience. Like, I know on this call we have developers who have actually started in their career journey. We have those who maybe you've not yet started. We also have those who have advanced, who are already working. Now you need to review your experience. You need to take some time and identify the trends in your previous learning. You need to identify what is it that I'm curious about learning. Now, if I just go to you, maybe YouTube or LinkedIn premium learning, what do I look for? What is it that I want to learn? Now, from then, you can now just realize that trend that is going to actually show you that, hey, you're really interested in things to do with machine learning. You're really interested in things to do with AI. So that is actually how you find yourself settled in one career path. You just take notes of what you have been interested in before. Number 4, you need to assess your current skill set. Now, this is very important because recently I was interacting with someone, and you can find yourself asking. This is me mostly with the newbies. You ask someone, what exactly do you do? And they're like, I learn JavaScript and I also do machine learning. Now, if you look at that combination, it's kind of off because those two things don't go like together. You know, if you're talking about JavaScript, we just already conclude into web development, then you add something like machine learning. So you need to assess your current skill set. And you can do this by maybe, if you've been learning, like right now we are all locked up at home, maybe you're doing some online studies, you can just look at the certifications you get, and then this will help you realize your areas of expertise, what you're really good in. And then another approach you can use to assess your skill set is by asking for feedback from those you've been working with. For instance, if in school you've been working in projects with different teams, just approach them and try and get feedback from them. Let them share with you how they thought you carried out your activities, and you might get some really insightful like messages. You might actually realize what you're really good in. Now, the 5th and my personal favorite point is this last one. You need to have a 5-year or 10-year plan. Now, this one actually, my mentor a while back challenged me this question. He just asked me this, and I almost hated him for doing that, because every time he asked me this question, I needed to now sit and think about my life. and so like, this is something that you really need to know, like, every day. This is what will keep you going. Now, the thing is, once you decide to take a certain career path, it will never be easy. Like, it will always be hard, as in you have to grind your way through. So what keeps you going is this plan that is always at the back of your mind. So you need to focus on even this, as you can see on this slide, the minor details, like just sit back and look at yourself. The next 5 years, like what is my daily routine? What am I doing throughout the day? Am I waking up very early to rush to work and come back probably very late? Am I the kind of person who wants to be working from home? I actually just stay home and then people are out there working to put money in my account. So you see, you need to have that clear vision so that you may actually, as you work, that is what will keep you motivated. You need to look at something like maybe your salary expectation. This is okay, we are advised not to do something because of the money that comes out of it, but this is just for the planning. This is just for you to see, like, you have a clear picture. I really want this kind of lifestyle. As you can see at that point, what type of house will you live in? I know these are just minor details, but if you just take some time and think about them, they will actually give you reason to pursue that career, to actually dive deeper, no matter how hard it may get. Because believe me, it's never easy, especially those who are in tech. Sometimes you may just be working on a code at night. It runs very well. And then in the morning, you just wake up to the same code and it's not even running. So I know these frustrations are always there. But now what keeps you going, despite all these frustrations, is this plan that you have that you wake up to every now and then. So I really advise us to maybe just take some time and think about this. So before we look at those specific developer opportunities, or rather options, there's this point I wanted to highlight, the specialization versus generalization phase. This is actually a very common topic, and I've had it being discussed in very many places. So before I even talk anything about it, I'd like to highlight that it's very opinionated like this. Everyone has their own understanding of what to do. So some people think that just specializing in one thing, like I will say that I will just specialize in doing web development, and that is what you do. Like, you don't even venture into anything. Some people think that, like, that is the best approach to take. Others tend to think that generalization, it's better if I have a lot of knowledge about very many things. But what I'd like to share with us is you don't have to really do specialization only or generalization only. There is this concept of the T-shaped knowledge. Now, the idea behind this is that generalization is commonly termed as being a jack of all trades, master of none. But now with this T-shaped knowledge, it is like being a jack of many trades and a master of at least one. So let me just repeat that. Generalization is just, it's like you being a jack of all trades, a master of none. You know everything in different avenues, but you're really not good at anything specific, sorry. But now the T-shaped knowledge is being a jack of many trades and a master of at least one. So what this means is that you have like a base general knowledge about a lot of things that really define your field. So we can say that it is very difficult to be a good specialist without building a strong base of a general knowledge about your field. So you just have that general base knowledge, but then you have this one thing that you're really good in. For instance, if I'm working, I will use web development as my example, because that is what I do myself. So I will start learning like maybe frameworks and languages around them. I will just have an idea of each, but specialize in one. Now, after I have specialized in one, and until maybe I'm above average or maybe probably the best, I can now advance in case I have any other interest outside my line of work. Now, after being the best at what I'm doing, I can now hop into other interests. Now, this is going to help you. You'll have an understanding. Now, as you can see on this slide, with this diagram over here, we have that text inside. So that is actually like a job description. This is something that an employer puts out there. They're looking to employ someone. So as you can read it, they're saying that we need an Angular developer that knows Java with Spring, with handwritten Oracle SQL statements, and can deploy their code continuously into Google Cloud. Now, looking at this kind of requirement from an employee, you can tell that there's a lot of specification. They're really specific on what type of developers they want. So if you don't have what defines you, so myself, I actually look at specialization, building something that defines you. So if you don't have that really specific thing that you can say I'm really good in, it will be so hard for you to actually just settle on something. As you can see, they also need some expertise and experience. You need to have worked it with what you claim to know before. So, and that is where we come in as the MSP Evolve. We try to give this opportunity to all our members. So there's really not much on this slide, but I wanted to just say something little on working towards a specific goal. So for instance, myself, if I'm doing web and then I just study web today, tomorrow I'm just looking into Python and AI, the next day I'm looking into R and other things. This means that I will take a very long time to actually be good in what I'm doing. So what we're advised to do is just work towards a specific goal. Maybe you can just time yourself, say in like 3 weeks, I need to know everything there is to know about Angular frameworks, for instance. So you need to work towards a specific goal. Will easily make you grow faster. You need to research and to reach out. Now, most of you, I really hope you have joined Microsoft Teams. We have this team, the MSP Kenya community, and this is where we thought of building this platform for everyone to interact. You will interact with other newbies. You will interact with developers who've had some experience before. We'll actually talk to even professionals. So that platform, if you're yet to join the Kenya team, kindly maybe you can have an MSP post the link. Kindly just fill in the form and join because you actually have nothing to lose, but you will be open to a lot of opportunities. We really post a lot of opportunities there. And if you just take them within a very short time, you'll be out there doing things, doing really awesome things. Now, the last point there says that you should interact with those carrying out similar activities as yourself. So I really find it difficult to get maybe constructors working together with software developers. They have nothing in common. So if you're stuck, you won't get anyone to help you. That is why we have the MSP Evolve. Whatever you're doing, you have people around you who are doing the same thing. So you just reach out to them. For instance, if you post anything on the channel on Teams, believe me, maybe an hour or 30 minutes it could be less time. You can have your response there, and you can actually also use that platform to help others who may need your help. Now, in the interest of time, we can just briefly look at these developer opportunities. So let me start by saying that this list is not exhaustive. There is a lot of opportunities. A lot of opportunities are out there. So these are just like the basics, or rather the most common. So we can start with web development. So myself, that is where I fall under. That is where my interest lies. And we can categorize, maybe we can put 3 groups under web development. We have the front-end developers. These are the ones who deal with maybe, they deal with the interface that you get, what you see on your browser. So they really work closely with designers, because the goal of every front-end engineer is to ensure that their users have the best user experience. So they need to make sure that even the interface of how the applications look like is really pleasing to the eye of their users. So that is mostly what the front-end developers or engineers do. We also have these back-end developers. They really handle what runs behind the scenes. Like once you issue a command on a website, they write the code instructing the computer on what to do after you've actually maybe clicked on something. So they deal with databases mainly, and so we can just put it this way. We can say that they power their applications. So they work together. We also have now this category of full stack developers. Now these ones are those who have a little bit of front end and a little bit of back end. So they actually just kind of do the whole thing, and they're really useful, especially in these startups where they just need someone to get things done. So you can just start an application back through front and finish with it. So that is pretty much all under web development. So we also have mobile applications. So these are just developers who work on apps that run on phones with different platforms, whether Android, iOS. So they just this application. So maybe you may be using Snapchat, for instance, and you're like, I really want to understand what is running behind all this, what is making all this possible. So if that is where your interest lies, it's really interesting. You can just look into that. The other category is embedded systems. Now under this, you may be the kind of person who's interested in understanding how hardware runs, because a developer who works under this category, this is just a coder who writes code that runs directly in hardware. So you may be interested in understanding how a CCTV camera works, for instance, or how a printer works. That is all driven by software. So actually a group of developers just sit and they write code to run in those hardware. So if that is what you're interested in, look into embedded systems. And the good thing is that we also have leaders. I know of Lillian Patience, who is an MSP, and she actually does a lot of this. So maybe for a starting point, you can just reach out to her. The next one is data science. Now, something interesting about data science is that this is becoming quite popular. Like, this is something I hear about like almost every day. Everyone is talking about data science. Now, what this basically means is looking through data. You just handle huge sums of data, and it ranges from the least amount of data, maybe Microsoft Access, to the most advanced type of data you may actually need machine learning. So data science is actually just looking through this data, coming up with so you just come up with meaningful inferences. For instance, I can use this example that every organization, almost every company, every organization, everyone out there doesn't have a problem in trying to get data. The problem is how exactly, or rather, what exactly are they going to do with this data? So we have the data. So how are we going to extract meaningful inferences from this data? Now that is where the data scientists come in. That is what they deal with. So if that is your kind of thing, venture into data science. And the good thing, we even have a whole channel on Microsoft Teams dedicated towards developers who work in this field. So maybe we can move to the next one, artificial intelligence. Now, another interesting fact about AI is that I don't know why this is hard. Maybe in a lot of developers, they just talk about AI. Like you ask someone, I want to do AI. AI is really broad. Like there's a lot to AI. Do you really want to build robots? Are you talking about building self-driving cars? Are you talking about introducing very funny products like maybe an automated fridge that kind of locks you out after seeing that you've been eating a lot of proteins and maybe just opens the vegetable drawer for you? Is that what you want to provide for your users? So you need, if you decide on working in any field in AI, you really need to take some time and venture into the different sub branches. Now we also have a whole team, a whole channel for AI on Teams. So kindly feel free to reach out to anyone in that channel. So we also have gaming. Now I don't have a lot to say on gaming, but what I can say is that if you really like spending your time just playing games behind the camera, behind the phone, behind the laptop, just gaming, this is something that might interest you, because you might be playing and you're like, what, I want to build something like this. Or you're just playing and you're disappointed in a game, so you're like, I want to build something better than this. So just probably look into that. The last one is the QA test. Now this is an interesting session. These are just coders who write software that test other codes. Now maybe the advanced developers here can attest to this being a really important tool in development. So if you really want to write, just helping your fellow developers writing code that tests other codes, this is your area of interest. Now these are just some of the few opportunities that are there for you, but let's keep this discussion going even in our channel. Just keep posting updates and maybe asking questions. So I will finish off by you're probably wondering what is going on in this slide. So at the middle there we have experience. Now, this is what the MSP Evolve aims to achieve. So now at the middle we have the experience that we want you to have. Now maybe in the next 5 years we want you to have a good story to tell of how your journey has been. So we want your journey to have patches of success. We really want you to have triumph, like I tried something and it really excelled. It actually was better than I expected. We really want you to tell those stories. We also want your stories to have some patches of failure, because failure, not just failure, but failing terribly actually gives you a very good learning experience. And we also want to see passion. Like if passion is driving you, it is very easy for you to actually find something definite and stick to that path. So yeah, thank you so much for your time. That is all I can share with you for now, but kindly let's keep this discussion going throughout in those and hand over the program back to Ayan.
So I think I'm gonna do, okay, I am gonna do career path 2. Generally, I'll be talking about non-technical jobs for technical people. I have a lot of let me just get the presentation. Okay. Let's see. Anyway. Okay, I guess can all of us see? Yeah, can you all see?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
so I'm just gonna expound on what Julia has been saying regarding the steps in career planning. For example, now if you don't have an idea of what you want to do, or you're in school and you don't feel like that course is for you, I guess you need to go back and reflect. One of the ways to reflect is to truly learn about the topic that you'd want to venture in. For example, now, if for example you're not interested in cybersecurity, but you're interested in data science, how would you know you are interested in cybersecurity and not in data science? So the first step to reflecting and knowing yourself is by learning. That's when you can know that this is not for me and this is for me. Another step is to truly analyze the situation. I feel like most of the people who go into technical, and okay, not most, but some people who go into the technical field feel like there's no place for non-technicals within computer science or within the whole IT field. And I'm here to prove that wrong. Yeah. So again, set goals. If truly this is what you want, you shouldn't stay in a career which you're unhappy with. I've seen a couple of people who've changed their careers from for example software engineer to data scientist because they truly liked it. Yeah. So again, set goals on what you want to achieve. Work on a mission. For example, if this is your mission, analyze on what careers do I need to achieve this, or on another case, you can analyze in the sense of what properties or what knowledge do I need to achieve a certain something. So again, what you need to do is to assess your likes and dislikes. What energizes you, what excites you. There's maybe for example for example you sit in an office, for example, with software engineers, and that you're just gloomy, you're just dull. But whenever you hear about data science, you always want to learn more. So again, you need to reflect in terms of what exactly energizes you. What would you do a whole day nonstop without really feeling tired, without complaining about whatever you're doing? I'm here to take you through changing your career. I feel like this is one of the abominations of doing a degree. People feel like you should never change your career. Just stick to what you learned in university and go on with life. But the true reality still sets in us that a lot of people who do a certain career do not undertake it in the future. I've seen a couple of people who've done BCom, but they've ended up in ICT. A lot of people who've done hospitality, who've ended up in HR. So technically, it'll all depend on you and what you like. So that's why we have here. You need to assess your likes and dislikes. You also need to research on whatever excites you. Research on new careers. I think the first time I heard about business intelligence, I was so excited and I went to check it out. Business intelligence is one of the non-technical / technical jobs of the future. It'll actually, I think it's one of the top 10 jobs of the future. I'll take you through that. Also look at your transferable skills. What skills are you going to transfer from whatever you learned to the new career you're taking up? If it's just within IT, I feel like that's way easy because we've learned so many things. For example, now in undergraduate, if you're taking computer science, we've learned these things. We have, I think most of us have tested different kind of technologies to see where they fit in, right? But for example, what happens if you're changing from IT to HR? Yeah, what skills can you transfer? Or what if you're changing from BCom to IT? And I feel like that's really something really important. One of the transferable skills include communication skills, and that's one of the very serious things that are so underrated. But communication skills can really accentuate your career in terms of how you communicate with people, how you communicate with your boss, for example, or how you communicate sometimes can get you jobs. There was once Jack Ngare, the director of the African Development Center from Microsoft. He was telling us that there was once someone who had no idea of coding, no nothing, came for a Microsoft interview. But guess what? The guy got the job because of how he communicated. So you come, for example, now he came without any knowledge of coding, and he came for a software engineering interview. So guess what? The first reaction is, what is this guy doing here? I mean, what are you coming to do? Yet you don't know how to code, you don't know anything technical. But he knew how to communicate. He convinced them to give him a job, and finally he did. He actually got the job. So I feel like communication skills can actually get you anywhere. Another thing is training. If you feel like you need to focus on a certain topic, you need to train on it. Get knowledge of that thing. Research on different methods of implementing this. For example, if it's cybersecurity, look at forensics, look at penetration testing, look at the different subtopics within cybersecurity. And one of the most important things is to gain experience. Gain experience by yourself first. Find a mentor who's gonna mentor you in terms of giving you resources, working with you throughout the way, encouraging you, supporting you. And then now, after that, now you can probably start job hunting. When now you start job hunting, the job hunting part comes together with networking. I feel like networking is such an important aspect because it almost accounts of half of what is required. Okay, half of how you can get a job, except from now your skills. What else can get you a job? You know, so networking can actually push and put you out there in terms of jobs. People will always be knowing, you know, this person is the person who does this, even though truly you're also trying to better your education and you're also trying to better your training. Yeah. So why, let's go into why plan for your career, because I feel like career is one of the things that we are probably stuck with until you retire. Sometimes on average it takes a third of someone's life. So for example, you've been working 20 years for a career you truly don't like. Imagine going every day at home and you're unhappy for whatever you're doing, you keep on complaining. I don't think that's like the best environment actually for someone's mental health. That's why here we have on point number 3, we have it affects your mental health. Wishing that probably you took another career, you took something else. But what people don't understand is the fact that you need to take the first step. You need to put your foot forward and take the first step. Be bold, and yeah. So your career is your personal brand. We all know that sometimes we get referred to by what we do. For example, you'll hear, oh, captain this and this, engineer this and this, or like we get branded by the society using the career we do. So it really affects our personal identity in terms of our friends and our family and other strangers we might not know. Some of the non-technical careers include data analysts, and I think this is a conflicting point because sometimes for example, now Power BI, it provides for a really almost non-technical platform for data analysis where you can just upload the data there and visualize it, that's all. So data analyst can be sometimes a non-technical career. Another thing is enterprise software sales. Microsoft usually has this job career. It's called enterprise software sales, and it comprises of people who deeply understand tech, and they know exactly what's there in these systems, and that's why they can best sell the systems. If they're asked anything about the codes, they can actually understand and bring that forth. So enterprise software sales is another very huge upcoming career in these big companies. Another one is tech support. For example, now fixing computers which are spoiled. I guess that requires very little knowledge of coding, but it's technical, so it requires some kind of knowledge of the SU or of the systems that are there in place, so you can actually fix. Most times software testers are non-technical careers because sometimes when you're testing, for example, when you're testing for user experience, yeah, so that's one of the things that are non-technical. You just put yourself in the shoes of a user and you test out a system and truly give back good feedback or negative feedback, but you give valuable feedback to the team. Or yeah, if you're the one who's doing the testing, then you can know what to change. Also, cybersecurity, I feel like most times it's just about writing some commands. It's not really coding, but it can get to a point where you will need to write scripts. But overall, I feel like it's non-coding technical. It's a non-coding technical career. So yeah, I also want to talk about business intelligence. There are other careers like business intelligence. There's SharePoint administration. Things as simple as being an administrator for Office 365, and that's a real job, by the way. And I feel like I know that the cut salary is usually around 80,000 just to administrate a SharePoint. There are also other careers which I don't want to go deep into, but the thing that I'd say is that also program managers. I don't know if you guys okay, like program managers, they're the ones who communicate with the consumer or the customer to get the requirements from them, then relay it back to the software engineers. So they do very less of technical work, but they still get, that's a fulfilling career. I mean, you're a whole program manager, so yeah. If you don't like coding, or if you want to do half part-time coding, part-time non-coding, that can be one of the best careers. I just want to say again, you can also have Azure. You can be an Azure architect, just working out on testing new softwares, new tools on Azure. That is. I know a couple of people who don't really like coding, but they're in the technical field. So again, you just need to define your niche, know where you stand as you, and don't feel don't feel bad if you don't like coding, or yeah, like don't crucify yourself, but it's a good gesture to just know these things. Yeah. I guess that's it for now. Julia, do you have anything we will add?
Yeah, so maybe I can share something. Okay, can you hear me? I hope you can hear me.
Okay, so I hope you guys have heard about the MSP program. I guess the link has been sent. Has the link been sent to the group? Let's see. So Julia can just send the link to the group, then we can all come on board. Okay, if you have any technical questions to ask regarding the joining of teams, you can always reach out to us, or the like, for example, the link that was sent out for MSP Evolve, it leads you straight to this team. I think you can join using using Gmail or any other email you have, because the team is open. Yeah. Okay. I think we can go on to question and answer session. If you have any questions you want to ask, we can have the discussion right now. So anybody with any question to ask so far, or any additional points? Richard, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Richard Otolo. I work at Strathmore University iLab Africa Research Center. I also serve as patron to the Switzer Club. And first of all, I want to say this is amazing work that you're doing. I've always been passionate about students taking advantage of the opportunities they have while in campus to set themselves up for future careers or future jobs that they're going to do. And it's good to see that you're taking this initiative on a Saturday afternoon when you could be out there watching movies, Netflix, and what have you, to seek to empower yourselves and share knowledge that you have. And I liked that story. I think it was Julia who shared about the lady who was an MSP and she ended up working in Microsoft. I think it would be good. I don't know if she's on the call, but it would be good to hear how she actually ended up doing that for the benefit of the participants here. Because as Ayan mentioned, one thing that's very critical is networking for getting jobs. I can testify to that. Before I landed my first job, I had sent out thousands too much, let's say tens of hundreds of CVs, and it was quite frustrating. But when I flipped the script and used something called informational interviews, which is essentially a form of networking, whereby you're going around asking relevant people in the industry, what is the industry looking for? What certifications do I need to have? Do you have any opportunities like internships? And that's how I actually got more traction. I ended up getting like, first of all, two possible internships, then one followed that, which translated into the job that I had. So that proactivity, I feel, is very important rather than the passive role that I think it's very traditional, where people just send out their CVs. It's back in the day, our parents, they had the option to choose jobs, but nowadays things have changed. The world is much more competitive, so we have to be very proactive and distinguish ourselves in some way, and that's where I think clubs in school, in universities, are very, very critical for this kind of engagement. How to distinguish yourself. I know clubs like Switzer are providing such similar opportunities to what we're seeing right now, that these multinationals want a way of engaging with the university. So the club through the students becomes an avenue for that. So the Microsoft Student Partner is one good example. And I know there are several others out there. that leverage on this. So I encourage guys, if you're not in a club like Switzer or whatever your interest is in, please join those. Additionally, such clubs are able to provide certifications, especially from I speak from IT because I'm in cybersecurity. Diane, I oppose the idea that it is not coding. It does have elements of coding. If you are to build tools in cybersecurity, for example, Python programming for security, it's there very much. Anyway, so having certifications that would ordinarily cost you a lot of money when you go out there in the world, or an organization would have to train you extra for you to be able to handle, for example, if they have Cisco firewalls or routing equipment. You can get this almost for free, if not for free, when you're still a student in the school. And the platform to do that is typically through the clubs. And I know there are multiple clubs. For example, in Strathmore, we have Switzer, we have guys in the tax club, we have the media club. And these clubs also, what Ian talked about, knowing what energizes you. They give you that opportunity to realize, hey, by the way, I have interest in drama, or I like public speaking, or are very interested in the calculations found in accounting or in taxes. So joining this club is also another important way to be able to identify what career path that you can go into. Again, clubs also provide something that's not very easy for a student to do, is to do site visits to these organizations. For example, doing a site visit to the Safaricom Security Operating Center. I know Switzer did a similar visit not too long ago. You go and meet these people in their work environment. You see what it looks like day to day, and that informs the choices that you make when you come back to school. I will take extra certifications in this, for example. I know somebody now in Safaricom who I can reach out to in case I have questions around this area of cybersec. And by visiting these guys and forming that relationship, again, the club provides an opportunity for networking. I know a lady who works in Safaricom right now in cybersecurity, and she's a very active member of SheHacks. I think Ayana might know her, Eve Kilel. And I believe it's through her networking from SheHacks, she went to work in Ernst & Young. Then, of course, once you're in the industry, you distinguish yourself. And cybersecurity actually has very few ladies, but not even just ladies. Generally, it has very few people, and ladies are much fewer. As of 2018, Seriano was saying there are only 1,700 skilled cybersecurity professionals in Kenya. That against, like, you can imagine Strathmore graduates, for example, in a typical year, maybe 1,000. Count the 89 universities that we have, 80 or something, I don't know. So let's say we have 80,000 professionals per year going out into the industry, and only 1,000 of those are cybersecurity professionals. So there's still a huge gap. And the number of companies that need cybersecurity is significant. Yeah, the Seriano say in 2019, 60% of companies faced a shortage of cybersecurity professionals. So if you're looking for a career in cybersec, then I definitely encourage you to get into that. And with this networking that comes from SheHacks, we have Africa Hackon. The other thing that they do is the competitions that they organize. Africa Hackon has been organizing a conference every year for almost 5 years now, I think. And the guys who emerge top there through the hackathons, they get noticed by people in the industry. We had a team from Switzer participate in the Communication Authority hackathon, and they emerged tops. Then I typically meet many of these companies in various engagements that we're trying to do, and they're like, hey, by the way, I saw some guys from Strathmore emerged tops in that hackathon. Can you refer a few people to me? And I was able to do that, and those guys were able now to get internships, for example. And we're also trying to absorb some of them within iLab in our cybersecurity programs, because they've already distinguished themselves in terms of we are not having to train them from scratch. These are people who have demonstrated they have passion and they're really good at something and they're above average. So automatically it's people you'd want definitely to work with. In fact, our director was like, look for those people. I want to engage with them. You know? And also, finally, might not be there yet now, but I've been seeing similar initiatives from Germany. The guys who came to Strath, I don't know if it picked up, but the idea of student consulting partners, that students can right away begin doing consulting jobs right from when they're in campus. So I think it's something probably it's coming in slowly. It's picked up out there, but you don't have to wait to graduate before you even start working, essentially. And then finally, I know I'm talking a lot, but finally, your final year projects, I'd encourage guys to find ways to work with industry so that you're not doing a project just for the sake of it, but something that forces you or encourages you to be able to go out and speak to these people on a one-on-one. That's almost kind of networking as you're adding value to them. All right, so with those few remarks, thank you very much, and keep up the good work.
Thank you, Richard. I'm sure some of you are wondering what SWITSA is. SWITSA is Strathmore University IT Student Association. Yeah. Thank you so much for your insight, Richard. I hope we've had whatever he said. In terms of attending contests, I can say that even our Microsoft lead who got into Microsoft as a software engineer, we did a contest and she happened to be position 1 and she was invited for an interview. So such opportunities are things that will get you ahead of people, okay, that will get you ahead of yourself. Like for example, if for example you didn't have any plan regarding where you're gonna work or something, this can be a really good opportunity for you to reflect and get bigger opportunities. Yeah. I just want to mention that on the text panel, we have upcoming events for the ladies in tech. Next, we're gonna have a Microsoft Graph and Dynamics of O365. I am sure we know a bit of, I'm sure we know some of the softwares that are in Office 365, but again, I know that there's so many softwares in the Microsoft O365, and it might help us with becoming future SharePoint administrators or essentiating our tasks, our daily tasks into, for example, to get an app that actually works and takes care of your daily needs in terms of tasks. Yeah, so that's what we're gonna do next week. We'll also be providing certifications for our attendees regarding the technical sessions. All our technical sessions will be all given certificates. So I hope all of us are still gonna come on board, get to learn the different technologies. Here we have AI and ML, Azure Cognitive Services. We're gonna learn a whole lot of things, and we're gonna finish the quarter with a really huge hackathon. So let's stay tuned. Let's stay onboarded with the whole Microsoft program. Even the guys who are here, thank you so much. This was a ladies program, but you still came on board. Thank you. Now I'd love to hand over to Julia to give her last words.
Okay, so thank you, Ayan. I also want to thank Richard for the insight there that you've shared. Now, interestingly, I have an answer to a question that is yet to be asked. So I don't know what I'm going to do with my answer, but I'm thinking of just asking the question, then I can just respond to it. So for those who hear from us through our platform in WhatsApp, you've seen us maybe urge our members to join Microsoft Teams. Now, what is the reason behind that? Now, Teams is actually like the best platform for us to communicate and for us to interact at this time. Now, why am I saying this? This is because maybe if you want to join like a group in WhatsApp, and maybe join today in the middle of some conversation that is going on in that group, you will actually miss out on what they said before, and you'll only catch up to what they're currently talking about. So that means if it was an ongoing discussion, you will probably just float throughout the whole session. But on Teams, it is possible for you to just join in and catch up with what people have been talking about. So on Teams, you will never miss out on anything. We have everything. You will actually have access to everything since the channel or the team was created. So that is why we opt to use Microsoft Teams rather than WhatsApp. But we'll still keep the two groups. So we have two WhatsApp groups, which we kindly ask for them to be used for communication regarding the Microsoft and Microsoft Student Partner activities, just for tracking, for proper tracking. So that is just a kind request to all of us. Other than that, I would like to thank you all so much for joining in the call. And in case you have anything you'd want to share with anyone, just feel free to do that. You can do that here. You can do that on our channel in the Microsoft Student Partner Teams. You can just share there anything. And another good thing about Teams, by the way, I should probably highlight this, is that Teams has like channels specific to specific technologies. Like if you're doing data science, you don't have to interact with people who are doing nothing related to what you're working on. We have a whole channel just that where only data scientists communicate, so you actually understand the language. So that is why we actually prefer using Teams over Microsoft, over WhatsApp. So I think that's about it from me. In case you have anything to share, just feel free. You can just unmute your mic and you can just, yeah, you can just share with all of us. Apart from that, that's all from me, Ayan. Maybe you can just finish off. Thank you so much.
Make one contribution. Okay,
all right.
Allow me to share my desktop. I'd like to talk about very briefly some cyber security career paths that people can consider. I noticed it wasn't touched on very highly, and this is something that I do. So if you'll allow me, I can take you through, it's 1 minute, and then I just show you some various career paths that people can keep in mind. Is that okay?
Yes, sure, take over.
All right, so let me share my desktop. I trust that you can see it. Came up with this tour that maps out cybersecurity. The first one is on the top of the screen that you see, vulnerability assessment and testing. These are people who will look at a computer network and try and find out are there any weaknesses, then advise on how it can be fixed. Some certifications one can do in that area is ethical hacking and license penetration testing and so on and so forth. Another career is cyber forensics. Now these are people who come similar to the police when a crime has happened. We need people who can come in and collect evidence and present it in court in a forensically sound way so that it's admissible as evidence in court. So these are skills that people can learn. So one, you first start by learning ethical hacking, how people break into those networks so that when you come to collect that data, and this is where the computer hacking forensics investigator as a certification becomes very useful for you. Then if you're interested in defending networks, one can specialize in aspects like disaster recovery and network defense specifically. These are the guys who deploy firewalls, antivirus systems, email systems, and so on and so forth. Then if software security is your thing, all these issues in cybersecurity come about because developers are more focused on functionality rather than functionality and security. The two have to go hand in hand. So software security is a career path that one can take to learn to be a better coder from a security point of view. Like you'll be involved, one organization that we are working with is facing issues because the DevOps team is very fast in terms of deploying the solutions, but because the solutions are to be secure, the security team is not catching up with them. Security is acting like a brake almost. Before you release, let us test the security. So there's still skills gaps needed, or there's still a skills gap that needs to be filled of people who understand how software is developed and then how to make it more secure. Then in terms of governance, finally, if you become a chief, there's a role the central bank mandated that all the banks in Kenya, because of the issue of cybersecurity, need to have a CISO, a Chief Information Security Officer. The CISO's work is similar to the CEO, but is concerned primarily with the security of the organization, right from being trained, the kind of vendor solutions that we are going to buy, what policies do we need to have in place, how do the various departments work together with each other. And all of those areas that I've talked about are certification areas that one can get into. And thank you very much.